If you break your phone, maybe it costs a few $100s. If you break your leg, it could cost you tens of thousands. Health isn't just personal, it's the most expensive business on earth. In 2025, global healthcare spending is projected to exceed $11 trillion, driven by rising costs and aging populations, according to recent Deloitte insights. That's over 10% of global GDP. No other industry touches every single person, every single day, with stakes this high. Lives on the line, economies in balance. So today, let's look at medicine not as patients, but as economists. Why is healthcare so costly? Who profits from it? And what does the future look like in an industry where the product isn't a luxury, it's survival itself? We'll dive into the numbers, the players, and the innovations reshaping this trillion-dollar arena. 1. The global healthcare bill. Healthcare costs look very different depending on where you live, reflecting deep inequalities in funding and access. United States. Americans now spend an average of over $14,000 per person per year on healthcare as of 2023, with projections for 2025 pushing toward $15,000 amid 7 to 8% annual growth. That's more than twice the OECD average. Despite this, U.S. life expectancy lags behind many developed countries, highlighting inefficiencies in a fragmented system. Europe. Germany spends about $6,000 per person, with universal insurance and regulated drug prices keeping costs in check. Patients pay less out of pocket, but innovation often moves slower due to stricter approvals and pricing controls. China. Spending per person is under $900, but growing rapidly at double-digit rates as China invests heavily in a modern healthcare system for its 1.4 billion people, including massive hospital expansions and digital health initiatives. Africa and South Asia. In many countries, per capita spending remains below $200, and millions lack basic access, with public funding averaging just 3.8% of GDP as of recent data. Conflicts, poverty, and infrastructure gaps exacerbate this, leading to preventable deaths from diseases like malaria and malnutrition. Healthcare is not just about biology, it's about political choices, insurance models, and who gets to profit. Global trends show a widening gap. Wealthier nations grapple with overspending on high-tech care, while poorer ones fight for basics like vaccines and clean water. As populations age, especially in Europe and Asia, this bill will only swell, forcing governments to rethink funding models. 2. Big Pharma. Patents, profits, and power. Nowhere is this clearer than in the world of Big Pharma, where innovation meets immense profitability. The pharmaceutical sector is dominated by giants like Merck, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Roche, and Novartis. Together, the top companies generated over $500 billion in revenue in 2024, with Merck leading at $64.17 billion and Pfizer close behind at $63.6 billion. Projections for 2025 suggest continued growth, fueled by blockbuster drugs in oncology and weight loss. How do they make so much money? 2 words: patent protection. A new drug can take over a decade and billions of dollars to develop. Once approved, the company gets exclusive rights, no competition, for up to 20 years. That means they can charge whatever the market can bear, often leading to sky-high prices in unregulated markets. Take insulin in the US. It costs 10 times more than in Canada, simply because of pricing rules and lack of generics. The result? For some companies, profit margins exceed those of tech giants, with Eli Lilly expecting 32% revenue growth in 2025 from GLP-1 drugs like Mounjaro. And Big Pharma doesn't just sell drugs, they buy up smaller biotech firms, building pipelines of future medicines. In the first half of 2025, mergers and acquisitions in biotech have been steady, with deals like Novartis acquiring Regulus Therapeutics for up to $1.7 billion and Merck KGaA's $3.9 billion buy of SpringWorks Therapeutics, totaling billions in value. This M&A frenzy, estimated at over $200 billion annually, shows how medicine is as much about Wall Street as it is about science, consolidating power and stifling competition. 3. Hospitals and insurance, the other half of the business. It's not just drugs. Hospitals themselves are billion-dollar ecosystems, intertwined with insurers in a complex web. And in the US, hospital bills are notoriously opaque. A simple MRI can cost $300 in France, or $3,000 in California, with administrative bloat adding 25% to costs. Private insurers, like United Health Group, now make over $300 billion annually, profiting from the complexity of coverage, denials, and premiums that outpace inflation. In contrast, countries with single-payer systems like the UK's NHS control costs more tightly, but often struggle with waiting lists, underfunding, and staff shortages amid post-Brexit challenges. The trade-off is simple: lower bills versus slower access. Either way, someone pays, patients through deductibles, governments via taxes, or shareholders via dividends. Emerging models, like value-based care, aim to tie payments to outcomes, but adoption is slow, leaving many systems inefficient. 4. The future: AI doctors and genetic cures. Here's where it gets interesting. Medicine is entering a technological revolution that could redefine costs and access. AI in healthcare. Algorithms are already reading X-rays faster than radiologists. Companies like Google's DeepMind have developed AI that can predict kidney failure 48 hours in advance. By 2030, PwC estimates AI could unlock $868 billion in opportunities for pharma, while McKinsey projects $150 billion in annual savings from automating administrative tasks alone. Genomics. The cost of sequencing a human genome has fallen from $100 million in 2001 to around $200 in 2025, enabling widespread use in diagnostics. This opens the door to personalized medicine, where your treatment is tailored to your DNA, reducing trial and error in therapies. Telemedicine. COVID normalized video doctor visits. In rural India and Africa, mobile clinics are using telehealth to reach millions who never had access before, cutting travel costs and improving equity. CRISPR gene editing. Once science fiction, it's now curing rare diseases like sickle cell anemia. Imagine if in 20 years, we treat cancer not with chemo, but with a simple genetic fix, potentially saving billions in long-term care. These aren't just medical breakthroughs, they're investment opportunities, with venture capital flooding into health tech startups at record paces. 5. The business of longevity. Can you buy more time? But the biggest frontier isn't curing disease. It's extending life itself, turning aging into a treatable condition. In Silicon Valley, billionaires are pouring money into anti-aging biotech. Jeff Bezos has backed Altos Labs. Google founded Calico. The longevity market is projected to reach $63 billion by 2035, with a CAGR of 10.37%, and could expand further by 2040 as over 200 million affluent consumers in China alone enter the space. The logic is simple. If you're worth $100 billion, adding 10 healthy years to your life may be the best investment you can make. Therapies targeting cellular senescence and telomere extension are in trials, promising to add years of vitality. But what happens when only the rich can afford it? Will medicine create a longevity gap, where wealth doesn't just buy a better car, it buys more years of life? Ethical debates rage as regulators weigh access against innovation incentives. 6. What it means for ordinary people. For you and me, healthcare feels less like a market, and more like a bill we can't avoid, especially as costs rise globally at 10.4% in 2025 per WTW surveys. A cancer drug that costs $150,000 per year, forcing tough choices between treatment and bankruptcy. A hospital stay that can wipe out a family's savings, with out-of-pocket expenses climbing to $300 per capita for physician services alone by 2033. Insurance premiums that rise faster than wages, leaving 10% of Americans uninsured despite reforms. But here's the paradox. This very pain makes healthcare one of the safest industries for investors. Demand never disappears. Even in recessions, people cut vacations before they cut chemotherapy. That's why healthcare stocks are a favorite of pension funds and long-term investors, with sectors like biotech yielding high returns amid volatility. So, what's the takeaway? Medicine is not just about healing, it's about money, power, and access. It is the most recession-proof industry in the world, but also the most controversial. Because unlike luxury goods or smartphones, the product here is survival. The future of healthcare will be decided not only in labs, but also in boardrooms and parliaments. The battle over patents, insurance, and access will shape who gets to live longer and who doesn't. With AI and genomics promising savings and cures, yet risking greater divides, the industry stands at a crossroads. As we move into the 21st century, the question is no longer whether medicine will get better. The question is, who will get to afford it? And how can we ensure equitable access in a profit-driven world? Stay curious, stay sharp.